Okay, someone asked me today how to build a room booking management system. So I imagine for something like a coworking, and we'll look into how we can actually achieve that with Softr. So I'm just creating a new app here, selecting Softr databases as the data source, and we'll be starting with setting up our database. So I'll just from here create a new database, and let's call it room booking. What we'll need is, so I will start with the users table with email, and these are actually the users will be using this app. So right now, just to simplify, we can consider that this is the admin team of the coworking. So we'll have email, their name, and for now, that's it. Maybe select field for their role. That's how we'll have, let's say, admin and manager. That's if later you want some user groups in your app. And of course, you could also have then actually instead of manager, it would be clients. So your clients have their own accounts to manage their bookings, etc. Now we'll focus on the booking management system, which is the most crucial part of this app. So I'll be adding a new table called rooms. And I'll actually be using the AI co-builder to go faster in building this table, but also adding some dummy data, so some records. All right, I think that looks good. I'll just be deleting this field because we'll be managing the bookings in a different way. But I think this is very good dummy data. So status we will not need, but yeah, basically we have a description, an image, a capacity, floor location. Why not? That's very good. Now we'll need another table to actually manage the bookings. So one table per object, we have our app users, we have our rooms that can be made available, and we have our bookings. For now, to simplify, let's consider that the rooms can be booked at any time of the day and all week long, but we'll see that we would also have ways to handle that with more granularity. So I'll be adding a new table for bookings. And for now, let's keep a status name as well, but I'll be adding a related record field to actually link that to the room that is being booked. Let's consider that one reservation is one room. Perfect. When I'll do that, for example, Atlas meeting room, I'll see in here that we have our bookings table already connected, and that's perfect. Now we'll add a date field, which is the start time. And I'll duplicate that to have the end time. Then we would be linking that to users, but for now, for the sake of simplicity, I'll just add an email field and say booked by. And for statuses, we'll have, instead of to do, in progress, etc., we'll have pending, approved, cancelled. Let's add a fake data right here. And now that we have this, we can actually go back to building the first steps of our interface. So in here, what we'll have is instead of a list, let's have a grid with horizontal cards where we'll be displaying all the rooms that we have available. And let's modify the contents. So for the image, we already have what we need. I mean, it is perfect. Yeah, we don't need much more. Just make sure that we have a couple filters. So we'll keep that one, which will allow users to filter. And for the search bar, maybe we also include that. We remove image. These are the fields that the users will be able to use to filter through the rooms. I'll just delete that block for now. We're just displaying the different rooms that we have. And here we'll not be able to add records. We're really focusing on the user experience to book these rooms. So what we'll need is whenever we click one of these pages, we'll open a detail page that will create with right here, the information about the room. So that will be a page that shows up whenever we click the list that we have created right before. So content-wise, we'll have the image, maybe the room name here instead, description, etc. That's excellent. All right, so just the information that we'll need. I'll add just some styling in here with a container and remove the edit function. Now, what we need is actually the capacity to see the available time slots for this room and book them by providing our email and selecting the exact dates. For that, there is no native block in Softr because this is something very custom. So that's where we'll be using a vibe coding block, which is a way for us to prompt what we want, and we'll get the exact block that we have described, and then maybe share some follow-up messages to ask for edits or refinements. So let's make sure this is connected to a data source, our bookings, and I'll be adding a conditional filter to make sure that the room name is exactly the current record. So this one, room name. So we are only showing the availabilities of this room. So now I'll be just explaining what I want for this block. Okay, so I have described with my own words what I think would be the best fit for that block, and let's see what we get. Okay, I think this looks really good for a first version. So now I would like to preview what we have. So if I go back to the home page, actually, let's just change to add, instead of just clicking on the room, having an icon might be a bit more visual, and we'll be opening the detail page for that room. I'll be just adding a title as well. And as for now, the experience to book rooms will not be as a logged in user. I actually make the visibility of this page available to everyone. Same goes for this one. So from there, I can just hit here the preview button and we'll see how my app looks like. Okay, I'll be choosing this room. And if I select a day, for example, here, I can decide to book. So let's say the 3-hour slots. And excellent, I can type in my email. So let's do that. Okay, booking requested. Now, if we go back to our database, we see that we have a pending booking for that room, which is exactly what we wanted. We can actually improve this naming convention, maybe with a formula. Okay, that would be, for example, a naming convention. Of course, you can do the way you want. Now, I went back and asked for some UI improvements, which the AI implemented for me. We'll be previewing again from the homepage. So we'll be choosing that same room, and let's go and check what we booked. So we booked the 10th, so that's tomorrow. And we see that these time slots, because we booked 3 hours, seem to not be available anymore. We could reprompt to ask for a different design, for example, completely hiding those or showing that it's unavailable. But that's easy to change. And if I pick here 1 hour, yeah, it perfectly changed my interface. And I can even go back and change my slots, which also works perfectly. So from there, you imagine that you can really tailor the experience and make sure that it's all better presented, that you maybe introduce your coworking, etc., or that you also implement, this as a logged in user page. So instead, if I go right here, instead of seeing that when you enter the website, you would see, for example, the login or a sign up page that we can simply configure in the user's setting. We could be syncing the user setup of this app to the users table that we had created by saying, okay, this is the email and this is the name. Yeah, perfect. This will sync and pull the data that we had. So right now, I'm not sure we had any, so I'll add some like this. We could be, when we go back to our users, we would have them all. So I'll just remove the test user, and our user system is perfectly synced. And from there, that's where you would be building your user groups. Say, okay, these are my admins. And the condition is that the role is admin, and the other user group is clients. And you could, in the authentication settings, allow people to sign up, so to get new users in this app, so they could sign up as a client. And then you could have a system for them to pay to become a paid client or a free client, etc., to have different plans and different accesses and really take this booking system to the next level. Now, what we'll be doing, so first of all, making sure this is only visible to logged in user, especially for clients. And from there, we can also build a block for our admins to basically approve those bookings coming in. So for example, using one of Softr's native block, a list that's connected to the bookings table, and we'll be providing filters, so the start time, the end time, booked by the status as the first item here, the room. Let's also add as a filter the rooms booked. If we needed, we could have an interface for them to manually add a booking, and we would have to configure, these fields booked by, etc. So that would be one option. And then we would simply be adding item buttons. So what I would do here is a one-click update that we would call accept. And we would only show that when status is pending. With a checkbox like this, we will, with one click, change the status to approved. And with another button just like this, we'll call that reject, where this time when we click, we actually cancel, or we could be using another status for that. And once we have added some customization, I can also go in here and change maybe the theme of my app. Maybe this brand is more orange like this. The text, perfect. And the typography, we have actually Sora as a title typography. Now, if I go in the settings, that's where I will be able to set booking my subdomain, for example, something like this. And once I'll be publishing, it will publish under this subdomain. What I forgot to do is just make sure here that the visibility is only for admins. So when an admin opens the homepage, they see a different experience than the clients, for example, because a client needs to book rooms and an admin needs to manage and approve the different bookings. So if I hit preview and I decide to preview this as an admin, I can see all the bookings that came in. I can manually add a new booking and filter through, for example, the ones that are pending. And with one click, decide to either reject one or approve one. So when I go back to approved, I see those. So of course, from there, you can build even more and enable, for example, to actually cancel something that was approved. You can build with Softr workflows to create automations, for example, sending an email, a confirmation email once someone requests a booking, but also let them know maybe one day before their booking, remind them that this is happening, or maybe inform them if you actually had to cancel or if you actually approved their reservation. And you'll also be able to build the logged in user experience where, as a customer of this cowork, I can see all my past bookings and the future bookings. I can go in and book something else, and I can also maybe manage my membership, my payments, all powered by Softr. So the database is in Softr databases. The app has been built with Softr and directly connected to this database, and workflows can also be built to add a layer of logic and automation on top of that. And this is the best solution to build either internal tools or external portals where you need logged in user experiences that also differentiates between who are the users. Are they admin, managers, clients, employees, etc.? It is super easy and convenient to build with Softr, and we have even more options to make sure that the right people see the right data or have the right permissions and can also access the parts of the app that are dedicated to them. So it can be at the app level, the page level, the block level, or even the action button level. And from there, you can also make sure that the app looks exactly the way you want. So respecting your brands, your colors, your typography, and use these native blocks that are super powerful and easy to configure, but also use the vibe coding block and actually have AI build very custom blocks the way you describe them, and you can even iterate by sending follow-up messages. So I hope this quick exploration was useful to understand what it would take to actually build such a booking management system and have these different user groups. And from there, it's your turn to build the app that your business needs.